Hey, good afternoon to you. Listen, I hope you're having a great day today. And I'm here today because I want to share with you just what is taking place and what has been taking place. As you know, I've been talking about this for a while now. And I want you to understand that my point and my purpose is we got to speak for the least of these. And what we believe is happening and what we've seen happening, it's a pattern. So it's a pattern of what is taking place. This initially began for me with Jalen Lewis. Jalen Lewis was actually killed by the Capitol Police. And soon after I exposed that and opened up the door to that, I got a message from Pastor Scott Fortenberry. Pastor Scott Fortenberry is the pastor of Soul City Church in the Midtown community in Jackson, Mississippi. And he sent me a message, I think after I posted that picture, saying, this looks like the same guy that you had encountered. You want to tell them just a little bit about what happened with you?
Absolutely. So I serve right here in Midtown and follow Pastor Pickett. And actually, one of the first people I talked to when I moved back was you, when we started this journey. So I was watching his Facebook and I saw the Jalen Lewis thing, and there was a picture of an officer that I had an encounter with. And so it was right here at this Dollar General. We had just finished our youth Bible study on a Monday night at the swimming pool. I was wearing my swimming trunks and my flip-flops, and I was coming to the Dollar General to buy some snacks for our college Bible study. And I turned into the parking lot and I pulled through the first space and I was facing out when I realized my youth pastor was already here. And so I leaned over to grab my phone to call him, and I started pulling off, and when I did, somebody was hitting the back of my car yelling at me to stop. And so I panicked and I stopped and I looked over, and there was a man wearing a bulletproof vest, and he was wearing cargo khaki pants. There was no identification on him, no name, no badge, no nothing. And so he started yelling at me, and he opened my door and he grabbed me by the back of my neck and he threw me around on the trunk of my car. And I ended up with my hands over the back of the car, bent over, and I had at that point 4 different police officers. They were yelling at me, and the guy that I saw the picture of kept yelling, "This is how people get killed. This is how people get killed." And I kept saying back, "What did I do? What did I do? What did I do?" Eventually, the cop that was calm, that was standing right over me, said, "You did not use your blinker and you did not use your brakes."
Wow.
And so that was a little startling. They then asked me why I didn't stop for them. And I said, I didn't have any idea that you were behind me. I didn't know that you were there. And they said, well, we had lights on you. And it was daylight like this. And so I'm looking around and can't see the lights. And I finally realized that they did have blue lights in the grill of their, it was a black unmarked SUV that was behind me. And so I never had any idea of what was happening. So they asked me for my wallet. I was wearing a bathing suit. I didn't have my wallet. It was under my car seat. And so I offered to go in and get it. And they yelled at me and said, "I can't go to my car. We don't know what you have in there." And they ended up, that gave them reason to search my car.
Wow.
They could search my car all they want to. There was nothing in there.
Right.
They ended up getting my wallet and running my license and my tag and all that kind of stuff. And after they did all that, they just looked at me and said, "Leave." And Pastor Pickett, I serve in Midtown. Primarily, we have teenagers and kids that are a part of the ministry where we serve. And my whole time, I couldn't help but think, what if this would have been one of them?
Right.
What if they wouldn't? I was panicked. I'd love to say that I was having cognitive reason to go, "Don't fight police." I was just doing what they said because I was afraid.
Right.
What if I would have been a smart aleck and said, not using my blinker and that's not worth getting pulled out of my car? What if I'd have fought back in any way? And I didn't, and yet I was still treated the way in which I was treated. So then another one of your videos, I saw Pastor Sherman had a similar experience right in this neighborhood. And that's one, I guess, that got me to say, okay, Dr. Pickett, I'll talk about it. Pastor Sherman is known in our neighborhood.
Right.
Not by a couple, but by our whole neighborhood.
Right.
And he's known as a force of good. He's known as a guy that's delivering food boxes. He loves Midtown. I need to tell my story.
Right.
So I want y'all to know I've reached out to Capitol Police. I've talked to Internal Affairs. I've reached out to the chief as well, and I'm dissatisfied with the continued actions that I see.
Right. Well, Scott, and everybody. So, Scott is a pastor in this community, serves in this community, and, one, to be snatched out of your car because of a blinker light is a problem. For them to physically handle you about not turning your blinker light on. And this is what we're trying to say, is that this is a pattern. We're seeing story after story of the same thing, and this heavy-handedness. Yeah. And, the sad thing about it, we don't know what's happening in the middle of the night.
Right.
We don't know for sure what happened with Jalen Lewis. We don't know, right? And again, as I told you, even before you agreed to share, even that, when I initially contacted you, it was about helping them.
Right.
Until I found out what the story was. And the mother only wanted the information.
Right.
Here's the thing you see is you were able to get a response back.
Yeah.
They have not called that family to this day. When they did what they did to Sinatra's son, they have not called that family today. My own son, they will not make any contact. There's no accountability. But the point is, you cannot violate people. Yeah. In other words, we can't break the law to enforce the law.
That's correct.
Just like you, I want crime.
Absolutely. We want it addressed. It's got to be addressed.
It has to be addressed.
And we got to crack down on it.
Absolutely.
But my neighborhood, not full of criminals. Not to say there's not criminals in it, but my neighborhood's not full of criminals. My neighborhood's a good place. You know my neighborhood.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And the deal is, in most of our neighborhoods, right?
That's right.
And what I tell people all the time, Pastor, is it's a small percentage of people that are actually committing the crime.
That's correct.
We understand we want policing.
That's right.
But we want good policing. You, just like me, we've been supporters of policing, right?
My whole life.
All our life, right? But now to have this taking place over and over again, and my concern is what's next and who's next. Right.
That's right.
So, if you look at even your situation, you're talking about a blinker light snatched out of a car, you were afraid, and then your car was searched.
Yeah.
Truthfully, whether or not they really had the right to do that, but nonetheless, there was nothing there.
Yeah.
So somebody's asking, here's the bottom line. The bottom line is, we want good policing.
Yep.
We want
firm, hard, fair.
proper policing that they de-escalate instead of automatically escalate.
That's correct.
They de-escalate situations instead of escalating situations. And people should not be afraid to come out of their homes. People should not be afraid to drive down the road. People should not be, and as you said, that's probably the fifth time I've heard the same story. Not able to see their lights.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there are people that didn't know who it was following them. Jalen Lewis didn't know. He called a friend and said, I think somebody's trying to rob me.
I would have thought, hearing that story, oh, come on.
Right.
Until I experienced it, and it's like, I had no idea.
Right.
Zero idea that I had police behind me. And I'm afraid of the police.
Right.
So I see those blue lights and my heart goes to the roof and I stop. But
I mean, this is just where we are. And, I want everybody to hear this, that, Scott is over here serving in the Midtown community. And actually his church is in the same place where when I came as pastor of New Jerusalem, they're in the old New Jerusalem buildings. It's now called Soul City Church, and just has a heart for mission and serving the community. Yeah. And that's amazing to me, right?
And we're praying that what God did then, He's going to do again.
We believe He is.
Yeah,
right?
amen.
But I think it's so important that we identify that this is an area where they operate in.
They're cracking down.
And they're on their terms cracking down, but there's no accountability. And so that's what we're trying to do here. We want accountability We want we want to make sure that the good cops are not paying prices for what rogue cops or maybe untrained cops.
Right.
Because now I understand that there's a new requirement for their training, for sensitivity to understand. Because, I mean, literally, people that look like me, Scott,
Yeah.
most of our experiences with the police are not good.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's just a different thing.
Yep.
And all we're saying is we want that change. We want that right. We want partnership. This is the city of Jackson. There has to be. So Scott, I thank you for telling your story. I thank you so much because, you know, sometimes when you're the guy here telling people, you know, of course I get criticism. Oh, you're just doing this because it happened to your son. It didn't start with my son.
Right.
It started for me with Jalen Lewis, and then I became aware. And other people, that's important. All right? All right. Thank you so much,
Thank
sir.
you, Dr. Pickett.
I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Hey, so you heard it from Pastor Scott Fortenberry, Pastor Soul City Church. Listen, we want to make sure we are working together to make this happen, right? We can work together, but it must be unity. So as you see, it's not just about black and white. It appears to be a culture that is allowing this to take place over and over again. And guess what? In this community, pretty much besides Scott passing over here, it's probably 99.89% African American. All right. So please, we need your help. Share this. Let people know. We've already contacted the state. We've already contacted Department of Justice. We want to know what we must do for people in our community to be treated right. All right. Hey, God bless you. Have a great weekend. Please share this with as many people as you can. God bless. Peace.